Hello, 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 hello. Good night, everyone. Yeah, my eyes look tired. I am. It's been a long week, but it's been a productive week. And so I'm here with Words of Pearls tonight. Welcome once again to Words of Pearls. My name is Florencia Chang-Ageda. For those who know, that's for those who don't know, sorry. I do have a YouTube channel, which I will upload this to, and on there, to get to my YouTube channel, it's Flo, Flo, Chang-Ageda. So if you have someone who needs to hear this message, but they're not on Facebook, then you can share it from there. If not, go ahead, share from the Facebook platform. And also share your thoughts. Don't just share when you watch it if you're not watching it live. You can still put your thoughts. When I go and I see videos that I'm watching, I still you know, share my thoughts in the chat box. And so you can too. All righty, that being said, I wrote on there that your productivity is not the sum total of who you are, right? Because some folks think that their self-worth or, your worth is based upon your productivity, upon what you do. And that get a lot of people in trouble because when you think that way, you're not totally satisfied with yourself. And then, you know, you can easily be depleted. When you're depleted, you've got to set some boundaries and not allow people access to you when you're depleted. You think about it. Remember, I did a message that said a city without a wall is subject to prey, that when you're uh, when you're depleted, it's the same thing as when your immune system is compromised, right? If your immune system is low, what's going to happen? You will be, and you're exposed to anything. It's easier for you to contract whatever it is you're exposed to when your immune system is low, right? If you think of the city, imagine a city that has no walls, no boundaries, anyone and anything, wild animals, robbers, those who will prey upon people, they can come in and do marauders. They can come in and destroy that city. So when you are depleted, in essence, you're like that city without a wall. Your defenses are down, your immune system are down. When you're depleted, you're depleted. It means that it's quite the opposite of thinking that you're strong. You're empty, but you're still pouring. But what are you really pouring out? Because then you may start to feel resentment and, the dissatisfaction and the you start focusing on how unappreciative people are, right? Rather than doing something from a place of being full. If you're pouring out of a full pot into a cup, it's different, right? There's an ease. There is not a concern that you're running out. But when that pot is empty and what are you going to pour? Dregs, drops, drips, and then, you know, how do you feel? How does that make you feel when you're pouring from a place of emptiness? And the thing is, when you're pouring from a place of emptiness, as I said, it doesn't make you a strong person. You see, many times we've been conditioned to think, especially with women. I saw a video where they were comparing parents. I'm not saying this is typical of all parents, but the husband versus the wife. The wife, she's a mother. She takes care, she works, she cooks, she cleans, she washes, she does, and her lists were yay long. Father had one role, work, right? And the thing is, we say women are strong, but doing all those things by yourself and not asking for help, not accepting help, depletes you. It drains you. And while it's doing that, it's lowering your immune system, which make you subject to to be preyed upon by whatever illnesses are around you. And so you have to protect your health, protect your peace, protect your mind. And one of the things that you can do is lighten up the load that you're, because for some folks, especially, and this, I'm speaking to mostly the females. There are some men that are like this, but majority are females that you keep trying to fix the thing that is breaking you. You keep trying because you're strong and you've got to remain strong. You're trying to fix that thing that is breaking you. No. Mm-mm. Stop. Stop doing that. It's time for you to take time out for yourself. And when you're parents, and sometimes it's very, very difficult. And sometimes you may not have that village to support you. You may not have the persons who can come by and assist you that say, you know what, rest while I cook a meal for you and your family. Or you know what, let me do this load of laundry for you guys. Or you know what, let me help you clean up. You may not have that village. You may not have the people around you. But how about maybe if you speak to the teachers, speak to the after school, speak to, and you may not have the funding to pay for this on a daily basis, but if you can speak to the teachers and say, is there any chance I can just pick up my child just a little bit, maybe give me an extra 15 minutes or so, and you take that 15 minutes, you're not running around, you're not doing anything that, because sometimes what folks do is when they get help, let's say a neighbor decides to help you out, keep your kids, or a family member or a friend decide to help you out and take your kids. What some people do is instead of using that opportunity to truly rest, relax, not do anything else because you need to be built back up. So instead of doing that, you're so happy that, hey, someone's taking care of this, so let me go do this. No, that's not the reason for getting the help. That's not the reason for asking or receiving the help that is being offered to you. What is being offered to you? You take that time to build yourself up. If you're not around, what will happen to your kids? And especially for parents with younger kids, what's going to happen to you, right? You've got to know that you being depleted is not a good thing. I remember years ago, one of my mom's coworkers, I was a teenager at the time, and this coworker of hers, she had a daughter that, this girl really pulled on the mother. She had one child, but this little girl just everything she saw she wanted, everything everybody wants, she saw her classmates or whatever she wanted. And the mom, she would work two jobs just to get her everything that she wanted. And when she was graduating high school, Was it high school or junior high? I think it was high school. The day of the graduation, her mom never made it to her graduation. Matter of fact, she just never made it at all. That was the end of her. She was getting ready. She was running from work to go home. And she never, she fell out. And that was it. See, she had been giving, 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 and not receiving, not taking time out. And you never know. I remember my mom telling me this, that a doctor said, and some folks find it difficult to do, but I tell you, don't talk yourself out of it. Try it, right? If you can take a 5 minute break, a 10-minute break, 5 to 10 minutes, it would do a world of good. And when your body is keyed up, when your nerves are on edge, right? When you're stressed, it's a difficult thing to do. You've, it's difficult. I'm speaking from a place, or I'm coming from that space. I remember, what do you mean rest and relax? I did not know what that was. I didn't know how to also use the word no, didn't also know how to say, I need help. Yes, I do. And I was one. If you're helping me with something, then I'm doing something else because I just felt I had to go. And when I realized this was getting bad, was I remember one night laying down and I laid down in the bed and I was exhausted. I needed to sleep, but I couldn't sleep, not because I was worried, but because my nerves, I could feel every nerve in my body. My body didn't know how to settle down because that was the first night I had gone into bed, after showering, I had gone into bed to lay down without being at the point of exhaustion, even though I was tired, because the other nights I basically I I think I fell asleep on the way to my head hitting the pillow, seriously, because it's like I climb into bed, I'm going to put my head down and I don't remember anything until I wake up the next day. Exhaustion, which wasn't good for me. And so, as I was speaking to my doctor about this, and no, I never took pills or anything for it. However, I knew I was in trouble, right? When I saw, when you do your blood test and you get the printouts, I knew I was in trouble. I knew I had to change. Something had to give, right? I also saw a quote. Um, what was it? Give your body rest before your body demands the rest because it will take it at a inopportune time, something to that effect. I saw a post last week, something like that. But the thing is that you've got to know that you're worth more than the what you're doing. And for those who are mothers, what are you teaching your children? Are you teaching your children that you have no value, therefore they can go ahead and just take, take, take from you, right? They have to know that there has to be a time when mom has to rest, and she has to rest in order to be there for them. And so she has to rest so that her mind can be at peace, so that she won't yell at them or scream at them or, you know, just, you know, and I used to, of course, I used to spend time with my kids, playing with them, taking them to the park. And in essence, those were part of because for me, that's also calming. Those moments helped, right? Now I would play games with them and everything like that when the time was right to do that kind of activity. However, as I said, if, when my mom would have the kids, sometimes I didn't just lay down. I would think, oh, sometimes I would find things to do, you know. Oh, well, I didn't sew, but I would knit, right? So there I was knitting something, or I'm washing, I'm hand washing, it's always something to do. But I had to learn that there are times when you must rest, and you must take the time to rest, other than just falling out in the bed from sheer exhaustion. So when I saw that my nerves were just I felt like I was a ball of, and I wasn't shivering on the outside. My hands were steady, but on the inside, it felt like this on the inside. And so, as I said, it is good to know your worth, that you are someone of value. You are valuable. You are needed. And in order for you to be able to pour more into your children, pour more into your spouse, pour more into your students, your patients, whatever your place of employment may be, or if it's a business or a service that you provide, in order for you to pour into the other entities, then you have to be filled up. you know, I think of when what just came to mind, if you've ever been in a restaurant, and you would see, like, if things are at a lull when you're in the restaurant, you'll see the servers or someone will come and take the empty ketchup or condiment, the containers, whether it's the salt, the pepper shaker, or the ketchup, or if it's a place like IHOP or one of those places, and you won't see that. But like a diner, then you'll see them take the containers and fill them up. Because how else can you put ketchup on your fries if there is no ketchup in the bottle? If you wanted to shake some salt and pepper on your meat or your fish or whatever it is you want to sprinkle it on, if there's nothing in there, when you go to shake, nothing would come out. Well, think about you. If there's nothing inside of you to pour, what are you pouring? What are you running on? Right? You're not the sum total of what you're doing. You're more than that. You're valued more than that. And so you have to know your worth in order for you to teach that to your children. And when I say teach, I don't mean to tell them I am valuable and I'm worth this and I'm worth that. You're teaching them by the very things that you do, because how they see you live is what they will live, right? Children, right? This is what they're learning. They're seeing how you're handling things, right? If they see, I mean, our kids, we become our parents, and our kids are going to become us. It is so funny, right? Sometimes some of us, we try not to. Oh, I don't want to be like my mother. I don't want to be like my father. Because, and then the things that sometimes we see in them that we despise, it's the very thing that we do. Like, what is that? Right? That's that spiritual law that is unwritten, unspoken, but it happens, right? I've even seen kids who've become adults that didn't grow up with their parents, but they were just like them. And you try to figure that one out. So, learned behaviors or inherited behaviors, and that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, but I'll talk about that in the next words of pearls, I think. Sometimes I plan to do one and then it's not, but at some point it will come, because sometimes the things we inherit, we exhibit, right? And so that is something, but I wanted to just let you know that You're more. You're worth more than you think you are. And you have to be careful of what signals you're sending to others in terms of, or examples that you're setting, or the things that you're doing that are, if on the job, then you're the person who doesn't say no, then everybody is going to expect you to do and do and do and do, and God forbid you fall out. Guess what? Life still goes on. Unfortunately, it goes on. You'll be missed. However, life goes on. It does. So take care of yourself. Make sure that you are replenished. Make sure. And as I said, you don't have to go to, sometimes you go on vacation and it's not a vacation anyway, but just make the time that you get to rest be quality time, because sometimes it's not quantity. Because I started to learn that I would set a timer and I would just rest. And at first, I couldn't sleep. Not gonna lie to you, I couldn't. At first, I couldn't sleep, but I learned and I persisted and I would keep taking and making that little 5 minutes, set the clock, 10 minutes, set the clock. If I had the 10 minutes, but it definitely, I would take 5 minutes and sit, because you may not think it matters that you're only taking 5 minutes, but that 5 minutes can extend your life decades. So don't keep pushing yourself over to the limit. Another thing my mom had taught me was, I would be tired and exhausted. And, when I was in college and study time, that time when you have studies back to back to back to back to back, and you just want to push and push and push and go and go and go. And my mom used to say this to me: rest, set the clock, take at least an hour, go to sleep, wake up, and see how much more you absorb. It really is true, because when our body is tired, you think about it, it's just as like when a cup is full and you're pouring into it, like what's happening? It's just flowing back out, right? So when you're at that point of exhaustion and you're just pushing, you're putting more and more tiredness you know, into the pot, which is not good. And you're being depleted anyway. But the moment you take rest, you wake up and you see things from a different, you start absorbing, you start firing, the cylinders, your faculties are like sharp. So that rest, God made our bodies to rest. In the book of Genesis, it tells us that on the seventh day God rested after he worked. Not that he needs to rest because he's God. It's a principle. It's for us to know that our bodies need the rest. We need the rest at the end of the night. We need the rest at the end of the week for worship and to be rejuvenated. We're rejuvenated at night. So we need rest when we take time to eat. I recently went to see an exhibit that they had in like Israel. It was a replication of a town in Israel, and the way the tables were set, and there were always pillows, and so when they, except if they were out in the fields, but at a dining area, they reclined, and they reclined in a way that they were actually like laying, right? Rest. And here in this country, in Spain, España, and France, and other places, they have lunch hours. People go home. I remember in Jamaica, folks would go home for lunch and go back. So they eat, rest, and then go back. And how much more you produce when you do that, as opposed to when you're tired. When you're tired and you're not fed, you don't, and your work, if especially if you're a person who don't have ethics, it's just not, you're just not going to give it your all. However, even if you're an ethical person and you're tired and you're hungry, you're not going to give your best. But when you're rested, when you have fed your body, when you have replenished what is was once depleted, then you're ready to go again and you can give more and you can travel a longer, you know, period of time without stopping to eat and to rest again. So please take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mental well being. You have one body, you can't trade it in, you can't purchase a new one. And so, if you run it down, what are you going to do? And you're not just the things you do, you're more than that. You're valuable, valued commodity is who you are. So, know that you're valued and set boundaries. Do not allow access to yourself when you're depleted. Learn how to say no, wait, and maybe. Those words may come in handy. With that being said, have yourself a wonderful weekend. Know that I love you guys, and God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit loves all of us so, so much more that He doesn't want you to be burnt out. And the worth that He is putting you is more than the things you do. Take care. Oh, hold on. Let me see if anyone's on. Ooh, it's 10 o'clock, so it's late. Okay, I'm not seeing. Is it not live? Oh, yes, it is. Okay. Well, I don't see anyone, but at whatever point you watch this video, if you think someone should see or hear this video, please share. Share on Facebook. And then when I upload it to my YouTube channel, please go there and share with someone who's not on Facebook. That is Flo, Flo, Chang, same last name as what's on Facebook. All right, so have yourself a wonderful night and a great weekend. Stay safe and know that you are blessed. You don't. Blessings. And now you're blessed.